This is a totally different thing. So there's 2 billion.
Hold on. You're putting another. When did I say that anyone that was in Gaza are actually?
And it's not. The world is bigger than fucking New York City. A lot of you motherfuckers probably never even left out of New York City. And coexist with all of these other different ethnic groups from these different countries in New York City. Y'all think that y'all know everything, and y'all don't know fucking everything. They think they're the smartest motherfuckers on the planet, bro.
Yeah, they're the worst. But that's a Northeast thing too. That since we all co-mingle, we let a lot of that shit slide. I'd be like, nah. But that's why we taking all these L's in the Northeast too, from New York, Philly, Boston, Providence, Hartford, because we grew up together, and now that we got to delineate and we got to stand on business, it's causing fucking chaos. It's causing real, but I love the chaos, and I love ICE. Come on in, ICE. Let ICE do what they do. I'm calling the number every day.
Who don't like a good beverage on a big glass of ice? Put me in the queue, moderators.
It's causing chaos because it causes them to separate from the people that they call family.
And Sister Sparkle, I didn't say snow bunnies. I said snowbirds. I didn't say bunnies.
It came out of
No, hold on. No, you said snow bunnies. I corrected you on snowbirds. You said snow bunny. I heard you. That's why I came off the mic and said snowbirds.
Okay.
That's the same thing that Canadians do.
It's okay though. I see where your mind was at for a minute. I won't tell.
No, Sister Sparkle, that's terrible. Man, I'm gonna come get Sister Sparkle. Definitely don't. I came from a black woman. I married a black woman, and I got black children.
I hear it in you, so I already know. I got it.
I mean, I look at the chat like, oh, she banging in the chat on me.
No, I don't want no heat. Today, guys.
Moderators, put me in the queue. I want to talk about JFK.
Yeah, do it big, man. Go ahead, Tarot. 5 minutes on tarot cards.
I don't need 5 minutes, but this is what's happening. There is a long-running conspiracy in this government, in this country, and there are legacy people who... There are legacy people who are connected to the assassination of JFK. A photo just recently came out of the supposed shooter, from the book depository. That was fake. He was on the street. So there's so many lies. This is an ongoing conspiracy. There's a movie called Everything is a Rich Man's Trick. It's a documentary. It's called JFK to 9/11, 9/11 to COVID-19. So it's all an attempt to subvert the will of the people, we, the voters, we, the taxpayers, to screw us, to enslave us, to poison us, to lie to us, to control us. And I'm pro-Trump and pro-Elon Musk. They are exposing waste, fraud, and abuse that every taxpayer in this country should be up in arms about. Do you go to work 5 days a week to pay for all that fake bullshit? That's all scams and fraud. That's going to NGOs. I mean, Stacey Abrams got $2 billion for trying to pull the rug on Trump. That was her reward money. So there's massive fraud, massive conspiracy, massive deception, massive illusions. The source of life, the source of love, the source of light is truth. That's God. These are godless, inhuman, deceitful Americans, traitors. And JFK Jr. or RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy, he is not a CIA plant. He exposed the CIA for murdering his father and his uncle. Even on the Bill Maher podcast, he's a liberal, and it's called, it's on YouTube. Anyways, RFK Jr. is a good human being, a good man, a good American, a patriotic American, and he's fighting for we the people. And so when Candace Owens, who has Jew derangement syndrome on her brain, thinks that RFK Jr. is a plant for the Jews, it's just ridiculous, stupid conspiracy theory. It's gaslight, it's publishing, it's the media, it's business, it's fake news. So, until we actually see arrests or see some type of justice or the pursuit of justice, the conspiracy is persisting, and Trump and Elon Musk are resisting. This is a legacy conspiracy. That's my opinion. I am complete.
Well, is he RFK Jr.? Is he a Zionist?
I don't know if he's a Zionist, but I think he stands with Israel in terms of security and the law.
So what did you call it? Jew derangement syndrome.
Yeah, every third sentence is the Jews, and it's as opposed to individuals, because that's called bigotry, that's called racism, that's called stereotyping. It's individuals who are involved in the conspiracy. It's not a group of religious people, it's conspirators, it's individuals. And at the CIA and the NSA, there was a cult of trans people that Tulsi Gabbard kicked out. These were people holding secret meetings, dressing as women, sick mental health. You know, mental health goes on the whole spectrum. You could be at the top and be a sociopath, a psychopath, an asshole, a fraud, a cheater, a scammer, a murderer, a rapist. There are terrible people at the bottom and the top, and it's justice roots out the evil. So I'm just saying there is an ongoing conspiracy in this country, and it all deals with the assassination of JFK. LBJ, in my opinion, is the chief conspirator. That LBJ is a real piece of shit. He killed JFK in connection with a bunch of other people. And if you go on YouTube, I'll put it in the link in the chat. It's called Everything is a Rich Man's Trick. I can't believe the video is even still up. It's like a 4-hour documentary from JFK to 9/11 to COVID-19.
Who invited John F. Kennedy to Dallas?
Was it the...
I think it was Ford that told him to go to Lyndon B. Johnson that told him to go to Dallas.
Anybody else want to try?
Do you want me to Google that for you, or are you just going to tell us?
No, Google it for me. I'd love for anybody that, because if I say the Jew, I'm gonna get accused of having Jew derangement syndrome.
JDS.
See, there's no such thing as Jew or the Jews. There's somebody named Tom. There's somebody named Dick, Sally, Harry. But if you're going to say the Jews, you're a low IQ hypnotist.
That's what you just said. You said there's no such thing as the Jew. You said that? Are you gonna stand by?
No, I'm saying when you go to court and you go to trial, does the jury convict the Jews, or do they convict somebody named Dick, Tom, Sally, Harry? It's called derangement syndrome.
I want to be clear. There's no such thing as the Jew, right?
It's a word. Okay, listen, let me Google this for you. Okay, I'm not your Google. I'm giving you my opinion, and I'm done with your Q&A. I'm complete, everybody. Thank you all very little. We'll call you. Don't call us. They kicked me. We got him on that one.
Understanding of what's actually going on in the region when it comes to the countries that immediately surround Israel. Having spent a lot of time in the IDF and in Israel as a citizen of the country, I can tell you that your kumbaya vision of what could be is just nonsense. We are faced in Israel with an existential threat from Iran, the proxies, and these Palestinians, so-called Palestinian people, who are and have voted for Hamas in the past, who continue to support Hamas. Over 75% of the Palestinians would want to see this happen again. They want to see Israel in the sea. And it's actually very, very sad that you try to lecture Israelis and Jews here.
Okay, Mike, trying to lecture you. We're having a conversation.
Well, if you let me finish my point, that would be very nice of you also. I don't know if your mother taught you manners, but when somebody's speaking, you don't interrupt. There you go, you're going to interrupt again. So all I'm trying to say to you is it's very, very unfortunate. You really don't have much of an understanding of what's going on in the immediate
Maybe you don't.
Maybe I do. Israeli, you're not. I've served
Just because you're Israeli, you're an expert in Middle East affairs.
Well, when people live in Israel, I think they're a little bit brighter.
When did I say Israel isn't facing an existential threat? Did I ever say that?
Listen, again, you're not listening to me because you just interrupt half sentence. But on you go, you talk to yourself, man.
Okay. All I said was if you want to push people to Egypt, you might start another conflict, which is true.
Good afternoon, moderators. Please put me in the queue.
It's really an open room at this point. We're just listening to this guy. Palestinian arguments that I'm just really trying to listen, like, because when this war started, I remember I said the first day, okay, what are we going to do after it's over? We got a group of people from Israel that want to create a hotel. We have some people in Palestine who want to rebuild their houses, which isn't realistic because that's what they do every time, and it never works. And then we have people in between that have no answers, and that's where we've been for since October 7th. And we still have a bunch of hostages that are not given back yet. So it's like we have to deal with all of these issues, but let's take Israel out of it, which is very hard to do in this situation. But let's try to take Israel out of it. What's going to happen with the region? Because the whole world sees this as a problem. And you know, that's one thing I like about the younger generation. They try to solve some of the problems with the world. And what are we going to do?
Yakov, it's the same thing all around the world. What's happening in Iraq right now? What's happening in Afghanistan right now? It's a cessation of hostilities. There's no conflict. There's no war. People are going back to work. People are building. People are working. People are saving. That's what happens. It's a cessation of hostilities. And justice is being metered out. Justice is being pursued. These terrorists are being put in the grave where these murderers belong. It's called the pursuit of justice.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But what about just because you kill somebody or arrest somebody, you don't destroy an ideology overnight? You know, if that ideology is still in the region, what are you going to do about that?
Listen, there's a terrible ideology in this world. That's not the only one. And the pursuit of justice is what conquers all these bullshit ideologies that persist. It's not even an ideology. It's propaganda. It's hypnosis. It's manipulation. It's control. I went to Israel in 2002, I think. And when I came back, I came across the Palestinian Media Watch organization, and they had been filming Palestinian media and documenting the propaganda and the brain control about Shahada and dying and killing Jews. It's so sick and so bizarre. It's like the Disneyland of bizarre, neo-Nazism and murderous propaganda. It's very sick, and but it's coming to an end, and it's pretty much coming to an end because bad ideas always come to a bad end. And this is what has happened. I mean, the Palestinian leadership launched them into an apocalypse. They were trying to create a world war. They were trying to get multiple fronts to attack Israel and overwhelm, and they failed. And as a result, they're reaping the consequences. And this is just as if you made a bad decision in your life, and a spirit of folly or a spirit of evil went into your planning and your actions. They were having bad thoughts, they committed bad actions, and now they're experiencing the bad outcome. That's the law. That's reality. But this doesn't mean the destruction of the Palestinian people or the destruction of their country if they want to form some type of country. So, the Jews are not out to end anybody's existence or their statehood, but laws and security have to be respected and enforced. Otherwise, it's absolute chaos. And nobody wants to live like that because it's just perpetual war. What, people can't get their propaganda out anymore, so they're like, I'm out of here. Yo, Harry Ballsack, I hear you're causing some ripples in the ocean. Oh, Dr. Caleb is here. Dr. Caleb, I'm reading this book, Tanya, the masterpiece of Hasidic wisdom, and every single time I read it, I'm just like blown away at how amazing it is, how much awe it creates, and then also how much I realize that I don't really realize much, or that I don't know much, because I forget it. But it's an incredible book. If you can get a copy, it's like $20, but it's interesting. Yeah. So I'm reading this Tanya book. I'm gonna create a new room. If you guys want to come to my new room, I'm gonna read this Tanya book. It's called 10 Minutes of Tanya, and I'm recording YouTube videos. It's basically a meditation. I can read one or two here before I create the room, but we have somebody on my YouTube saying "Free Palestine." Somebody told me not to smoke so much weed. Okay, this is Tanya, masterpiece of Hasidic wisdom. This is called Becoming an In-Betweener. You don't want me to read? Well, then I'll clear the room out, and then I'll just go create my own room, because I think Harry Balzac is on the shitter. Here we go. But becoming an in-betweener, everyone can attain the level of in-betweener, and everyone should strive after it. You can achieve the level of in-betweener at any moment, for it does not require you to despise your passions, only to control your actions, to turn from evil and do good, in your deeds, speech, and thought. Whenever a passion arises that draws you toward evil, say to yourself, "This is the way of the wicked that will separate me from God." Nothing is worth that separation, and my deepest wish is to unite body, heart, and mind with God by clothing them in thoughts, words, and deeds dedicated to God, God's will, and God's way. Isaiah 59:2. Sin strengthens your sense of alienation from the whole and excuses exploitation of the other. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, body, heart, and mind. The three garments, God, Torah, and Mitzvot. Becoming an in-betweener. Okay, I'm going to do one more. This is all being put on YouTube right now, by the way. Hope you're enjoying it. Your sins stand between you and God. Isaiah 59:2. Sin arises from selfishness. Selfishness arises from a sense of fear and scarcity. Fear and scarcity arise from the egoic shell of self-isolation, kalipat noga. And this egoic shell arises from the sitra achra, the other side of God, the side that sees only the many and denies the one, and the very possibility of unity. Because sin can be traced back to Sitra Achra, which is primarily a state of mind. Your best defense against sin is the awakened intellect cycle. Intuitive wisdom, Kokma, rational understanding, Bina, and integrated knowledge, the art. One way to awaken the intellect is to remind yourself whenever selfish passions arise that they can only lead away from God, when in fact your deepest longing is for union with God. With this in mind, your thoughts will be directed toward God. Your words will be words of Torah, and your deeds will be acts of godliness. See, it's pretty smart, Julian. That's why I don't support Mangione, especially if he really killed the guy. If he didn't kill him, okay, and it's some type of weird conspiracy, prove me wrong. See, Dr. Death, Julian, I'm just going to start calling you Dr. Death. You got a negative attitude. You're like, you cannot support Mangione. He murdered an innocent man. The guy is part of a simulation. Don't you understand that? That like that guy is doing he's doing him. Like that's the simulation. He shouldn't have been murdered in the streets. Mangione must fry. We're gonna cook that guy. We're gonna fry him up. Welcome everybody to the Takeover Coexistence Doesn't Exist room where I'm reading Torah, convincing all the Jew haters, all the low IQ dumb people on this app that they are delusional, like Dr. Julian here, Dr. Death, trying to convince Julian he's delusional. You could be delusional, Julian. It's not right to kill people, but yet you support killing people. You are delusional. You are stupid. You are low IQ. There you go. Confirmed. Thank you. I hate calling people delusional because it's like everything is projection. So it makes me wonder, what are my delusions? I don't think I have any because I'm just reading a book that I didn't write. So this is called Serving God. And you will return and see the difference between the righteous and the wicked, between those who serve God and those who serve God not. There are two types of in-betweener, those who serve God and those who do not serve God. Those who do not serve God are not wicked,
Admin.
but merely
I
passionless.
came on stage. I forgot I had access. So yeah, you support killing people too. You just have a different opinion who should be killed. So
That's not true. I don't
yeah,
support killing anybody. What are you talking about? That's your opinion projecting on me. I do not support killing anyone. I don't.
If you're a Zionist, you do to an extent.
No, I don't. See, war is.
So are you a Zionist, or am I just like assuming that?
I don't understand the term Zionist. Like, how do you define it? Because I think every country Zionist.
Do you consider yourself one?
I consider myself an American, and I consider America Zionist in the philosophy, but not in terms of Zionism, but like in terms of. See, this is what I'm trying to get you to understand: is that we are living in a beehive called the Earth. And in that honeycomb, there's multiple hives. Everyone is serving a fascist government. I have this book, it's called like Reprogramming Yourself or Reconditioning Yourself. Technically, every major city on the planet is serving a fascist government. So the point is, every country is Zionist because Zionism is, in your opinion, is fascism. So thus, in my opinion, every single major city-state and every major government on the planet is technically fascist. There's no wealth redistribution. There's no minimum basic income. The governments don't support art or freedom of expression or theater or poetry or anything like that. They do in limited amounts with grants, but the point is, you would imagine that generational wealth would basically would eventually allow multiple countries to stop working. You see what I'm saying? Like in the industrial sense, but like in terms of the information technology economy, technically that's like what's happening amongst all these honeycombs is the countries that are able to make energy and communication essentially free, they allow that population to basically import everything. So, I don't know what kind of work you do, but if we were to go to some farm in Mexico or California or Arizona or somewhere and like see the people working, they're mostly indigenous. So the whole point is that Mangione must fry because at $40 trillion, if we don't start saving money in our capital punishment industrial complex, it's not an authentic Doge. We've got to Doge everything. We've got to Doge everything. Everything has to be doged. At 40 trillion, there's no turning back. Because imagine how hard we would have to work to even get back to even and then have a surplus, which is what a lot of countries have. So America, in my opinion, is going to go hyper fascist, and it's all going to be in an attempt to pay the debt. Like that's the consequences of hyper fascism. Just look at Germany in 1939. So that's his America is history repeating itself, but the American way. This isn't Germany in 1929, despite the fact that now two Germans are in control of the United States government. I mean, people don't ever say that, but Trump and Elon are technically two Germans now in charge of the world's largest empire, which is amazing. Trump isn't even his real last name. It's Drumpf. So I don't know. I mean, from an American perspective, when Elon says that this is a revolution, you could say it's like a coup d'etat, but it's all legal. And Julian, this is thus why Dr. Mangione is going to fry. Trust me, they're going to make an example of him to all of these young people. Fuck around and find out. Death by firing squad. Bop, 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 bop! Just a couple shots. That's all it's going to take. And then he's dead. And then they bury the body or they burn it. And he's gone. As if he never existed. And that poor guy who had a wife and kids who was just living his life going out for a jog, trying to enjoy the fresh air in Central Park, who had his head blown off by a murderer, a piece of shit that you support, that you have some kind of imaginary, delusional, emotional connection to.
Conviction yet.
You are a delusional young person who has an emotional connection to this
No,
freak show
no
murderer.
Conviction. No conviction yet.
He ruined his life. That's the point. You kill someone, you ruin your life. That's the point. You're done. Now you're an enemy of the law.
We'll see if that's
Just
true.
sheriffs and bounty hunters and
There's
justice,
no conviction
those
yet.
who seek justice.
The trial hasn't even started.
The point is, this is a conversation between me and you, which is really my advice to you, which is don't support murdering people because that's your sentiment. That's your ethos pathos. That's your projection. That's what you say. So you're delusional.
I don't support murder. But at the end of the day, people would excuse what they perceive as murder if it aligns with their never mind. You got it.
It's not that I got it. It's the fact that once you start studying philosophy and you realize the importance of the law, which is essentially security and the pursuit of justice, you see how badly propagandized everybody is by this cultural propaganda. And it's just real. Like the young generation today is hyperbolic, bipolar, manic, conditioned, extremely polarized. This app is a clear demonstration or example of extreme polarization. TikTok, this is why they want to get rid of TikTok in this country, because it's hyper polarizing. It is total brain control. I heard a young girl at the park, just singing this popular like beat from YouTube. And and there's a lot of these like sounds that these young people are memorizing. It's the same thing as if I were to just play songs. You see what I'm saying? It's all the same programming. It's all being stored in the brain and memories. So these cell phones, there's nothing like it in human history. Nothing. It is the funniest thing and the craziest thing and the most interesting thing. Um, I don't think anything will ever top a cell phone, to tell you the truth, in human history. I think it's got to be the greatest invention in human history because it is like communication technology to the next level. It is the Star Trek device, but this is my last point, is that on Clown House, um, oh, I had a really good point. I forgot it. But anyways, I'm just having fun. The point is,
Communication and cell phone.
The telephone is a
this is, wait, hold on. This is the point, is that as I walk through real life and real society and I observe, I realize how hyper social this app actually is. There's nothing quite like it. X is also close, but there's something about Clown House which is like a unique opportunity for the user, in my opinion, because it's hyper socialization in a way that the general public is not aware of. And it's kind of like the Matrix, where Neo is walking around with Morpheus and everybody's going to work. Uh, so this is kind of like the modern hookah. I don't know if you know the story in Egypt, the government outlawed hookahs because the population was just chilling and smoking hookahs all day. So, this is that type of app where it's so addictive or dopamine creating that a lot of people just don't want to work their jobs anymore once they realize that people are essentially doing this parallel society dopamine community creation, which is a lot of fun. It's a way to essentially determine like your own index and then maybe gravitate, to what's working. But it's an interesting app. Sorry for that.
What do you index? Like how smart you are?
Yeah, your ability to utilize English in direct communication.
So if people weren't programmed, what would they be if they weren't conditioned or programmed?
I don't know. I have a video of Chicago in the 1930s during the Depression, and kids are leaving school and having fun and playing games, but there's no cell phones. So, like, the cell phone is just like an external implant in all of our minds, and especially in these young people. Um, So I don't know. I think because the programming is so algorithmic and it's so negative, it's like having the newspaper injected in your brain every day. But it's like the cultural stuff, the sexualization, the gentrification, all of the trans stuff is so bizarre. It's just internet. It's internet society. The internet society culture, within the age groups between like let's say 8 to like 27 is an index. But when you look at that index and you look at the numbers, you're like, wow, that's like 20 million fucked up people, totally brainwashed by their cell phone, completely miserable, depressed, and suicidal, needing psychiatric intervention. Oh my gosh, these poor people.
So you're saying it's a loosh farm?
Huh?
Are you calling the cell phone a loosh farm?
I don't know what you're saying. It's like typical Danny joke.
Yeah, I'm sorry you don't understand.
Anyways, when are you going to dress up as a clown and take a selfie and put it as your profile pic?
You said I get $10, right?
Anyway, free Luigi.
Yeah. What was
Who are we
Mario's?
freeing Luigi from? Like, is that your friend?
What was Mario's plumber business partner? It was Luigi, right?
Yeah, his Italian lover is Luigi.
Mario and Luigi, right? Or what was it called? Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah, they're bros.
Free Mangione. How pathetic. Holy shit, they're doing a JFK hearing right now. And they have Oliver Stone testifying.
Did you see all the propaganda from that?
One thing that the gentleman down here asked about, see, very few people know there were 3 attempts at JFK's life in November. Okay?
And now, an advertisement from Luigi Mangione. Are you a depressed homosexual in love with Dr. Mangione? Dr. Mangione is about to experience what's known as capital punishment. His brains will be obliterated by a bullet.
That if the Secret Service would have given all those records over.
See, that was so good. Like, that could go viral. Like, that was hilarious. Your fake little commercial. Like, that was so good. Like, why don't you be on Saturday Night Live and, like, you know?
It was just the opposite of Dallas. You had wall-to-wall Secret Service, FBI, etc. And Kennedy was so happy that he got away, that he stayed after at the Floridian Hotel and insisted on shaking hands with every single officer that was involved in that attempt. Right? So these are some of the records that are still out there.
Thank you very much, Mr. DeGenio. Mr. Davidson?
Just thank you again for the opportunity to testify and to encourage the task force again to take all steps possible as this process moves forward to ensure the protection of the privacy of individuals who are named in these records and to ensure that federal public records offices have the resources they need to provide valuable public information to the public in a timely fashion.
Absolutely. I know that, although I do not speak for this administration, that I know that everyone is well aware of the Social Securities and working to the best of their ability to ensure that those people are taken care of. So that is being looked into on our end. Without further ado, without objection, all members have 5 legislative days within this to submit materials and to submit additional witness written questions for the witnesses, which will be forwarded to the witnesses for response. If there are no further business, without objection, the task force stands adjourned. Thank you.
For our eyes, and they are doing this in real time with regards to the Epstein list, which the government still has not released today, and the American people deserve to know who rich and powerful is on that list and who the government is covering. Regards to the Epstein, cover it up, try to cover from him. We were lied to about drones just in the last few months. And so when we talk about this, the deep state, not only was it around during JFK's assassination, but it's here today. It is right before our eyes, and they are doing this in real time with regards to the Epstein list, which the government still has not released today, and the American people deserve to know who rich and powerful is on that list and who the government is covering up for. So for decades, we've seen this happen, and I'll get to a few questions. Mr. Morley, I want to start with you first. You said, according to your testimony, in asking, what did the CIA know and when did they know it? What do you think that is? What is the answer to that question?
I want to preface my remarks by saying I'm a liberal Democrat, and I don't shy away from that. That's part of my reporting, and that's part of my reputation for straight shooting. What did the CIA know about Lee Harvey Oswald, and when did they know it? A whole lot. 198 pages worth of information were on the CIA's desk when President Kennedy left for Dallas. So that foundational fact should guide us in understanding what happened.
So who do you think fired the shot?
I don't know.
You don't know, but you don't believe it was Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oswald was not the intellectual author of Kennedy's death, even if he fired a gun that day.
Who do you think was the intellectual author of Kennedy's death?
Kennedy's enemies high in his own government is as specific as I can be based on the available evidence. Probably CIA and Pentagon.
How long had the CIA been surveying Lee Harvey Oswald before the assassination attempt?
4 years.
4 years. And what are some of the highlights of the CIA's pre-assassination file on Lee Harvey Oswald?
They started reading his mail on November 9th, 1959, and they intercepted a number of letters between him and his mother. Those letters were forwarded to James Angleton in the summer of 1962. In the summer of 1963, Oswald attempted to infiltrate the CIA's favorite Cubans in New Orleans. He was arrested. The FBI sent reports on Oswald's arrest to Angleton's staff. They knew that he had attempted to infiltrate a CIA-funded group, that he had been arrested. And then they learned that he had attempted to travel to Cuba, a violation of U.S. law at the time, and he had made contact with a KGB officer in Mexico City.
Okay, Mr. Morley, did the CIA or FBI have intelligence prior to the assassination of President Kennedy that Lee Harvey Oswald intended to kill him?
No.
Did the FBI did not either?
No.
No one did. And then how do we, Mr. Davison, how do we make sure the government is more transparent with Congress? You have 20 seconds. Good luck.
I think in general, the most important thing is to provide the resources.
It's fucking wild, isn't it? Holy shit. So this is kind of a long video that I'm going to dissect.
As the Alter Rebbe will explain, you do this by placing yourself in situations of overwhelming love or humility, and in this way awaken the facility of cosmic wisdom, which makes transparent the otherwise opaque shell of self, allowing the Shama to be surrendered to Chaya, the way the light of a single burning candle is surrendered in the noonday sun. Penamiyut inwardness, God blew life into you from the innermost depths of divinity. The inclination towards selflessness is a part of God above, as it is written, and He blew into His nostrils the breath of life. Blowing comes from the innermost depths of your being, so your very life, your